Untold Physio Stories is part of the all-new PT Podcast Network. Find a new favorite podcast by an amazing PT content creator at ptpodcastnetwork.com. The future of medical documentation is here, and it's revolutionizing the way we record patient visits. Introducing Comprehend PT, the groundbreaking HIPAA-compliant AI scribe designed specifically for physical therapists. Imagine a world where the dialogue between PTs and patients is interpreted by AI into precise, real-time medical notes without lifting a pen or tapping a keyboard. Comprehend PT does just that, allowing healthcare professionals to stay engaged with patients rather than buried in documentation. Boost your efficiency, reduce claim denials, and liberate yourself from the burdens of manual note-taking with Comprehend PT. Join the revolution now at comprehendpt.com. Untold Physio Stories listeners get 50% off their first month with code MMT50, and there's a free trial available. Sign up now. I use it every day in the clinic for virtual and live visits. I just speak to the patient and at the end hit Comprehend and a SOAP note's generated. I love it and you will too. Welcome back to Untold Physio Stories podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. E, with Modern Manual Therapy, Edge Mobility System, and our 4-month online mentoring program, Modern Rehab Mastery. My co-host, Dr. Andrew Rothschild, is not with me, but today I have Dr. Matt Huey. How's it going today, Matt?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Great. So I saw Matt post on LinkedIn a link to a YouTube video about how you got a bill pass. So I thought, hey, I'm not going to watch this video. I just want to hear this story. So why don't you give it a quick intro and then tell us how you got your bill passed, a bill passed.
Yeah, a bill. So my name is Matt. I am a PT, been a PT almost 15 years now. I'm a diplomat in MDT. I know we chatted about that, and I'm a fellow of the AAO and PT, so I got all that. If I look familiar or any of that, you've probably seen my goofy Instagram stuff. So it's me being kind of silly with things that go on in our lives and as PTs, as therapists in healthcare. So that's me.
I like your profile picture. Your profile picture is very superhero-esque.
Yes, I did. I set that up, and one thing funny, my wife did. She goes, "Your wedding ring's not on there." I was like, "The dude didn't draw it on there for some reason. He didn't draw it on there." So I said it wasn't an active choice, but so I'm also involved with. I'm here in Texas now. So I am involved in the Texas Physical Therapy Association, but when this story happened, I was in the Mississippi Physical Therapy Association at the time. So I've been active with that for probably over 10 years in some capacity, doing something at the state level with helping the profession.
All right. So yeah, I mean, what happened? Like, what was the bill? And
so it was, I believe it was House Bill 307 or 309. And so with the licensure compact, when it was about that. So if you're familiar with the licensure compact, what it is that you get the right to practice in a state. And it is something that had been talked about nationally because like nurses had this because with their traveling, and it was really focused for therapy on military. So people in the military, if they are military personnel or their spouse and they move, that sometimes when they go to a new state, it's a very long process to get their license. And they're like, we want to make this a way that if somebody moves to a state, they can get the right to practice in that state really quickly and to start to start work. It also benefits therapists who happen to live near a border. So if they could live, on the border of another state, that they can practice in both states, and you're not going through the long process of getting the actual license in it, but you get the right to practice in it. So this had been in the talks, and as it was coming down in Mississippi, we had, as a board, had come together and said, we want to get this here in Mississippi because at the time they said the first 10 states get to be on the board for the licensure compact. And we were saying, well, we don't want just the big states. So we don't want California, New York, Illinois. It's California, New York, Illinois, Florida, and Texas are like the biggest ones. And we don't want just those big states on it, where any decisions or anything that go forward about, like your the CEUs that you got to get or any requirements, because that could be, they said, we don't want just these big states putting out stuff that's just going to probably benefit them. We want to have these smaller states to have a seat and to have a voice, and so that we could speak for that small state and something that we may be dealing with or whatnot. So we were really said, okay, I think we can do this. We can really push this through and get this through the Mississippi legislature. So it was an interesting thing. Several years before, and I cannot remember how long, they had just passed another bill. It was before I had come onto the board, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was, but it was pretty significant for the state. And so a thing that we had found out, they said that you really can't like get a bill passed and then come back the next year and be like, hey, we got another bill, can you pass that? And then come back, you knew do it. They said they kind of get sick of you and they're like, go away, we're not going to listen to you. So they said you kind of have to play the game, and you got to play nice. So it had been enough time. We had did several fundraisers to raise enough money to really kind of campaign to do this. So what we did, we based it upon the nurses compact, because the nurses licensure compact had been approved in the state of Mississippi. So we said we're going to base it off of theirs. And so we had somebody write it up, and it was very, very similar. So like, if you come in and this is the requirements that you got to get, you get this long to get it approved, and this and that. So I had set all of that up. We had our lobbyist, who, very interesting thing with a lobbyist is that this guy, he's just going around, he's just talking. He's just listening to whatever's going on. So it's funny. He'd be like, I went and played golf with so-and-so. I went and got a cup of coffee with somebody. I got this from, so
sounds like a rough job.
Yeah. But it's he's just building these relationships. And so and that's something that people really understand. Like, you get somebody and go and having a cup of coffee with somebody, you get them talking, and you can find out what's the temperature of things going on. So are they in the mood more? Healthcare is a big thing, and that's what they're really, or are they really focused on an education bill so that they're not going to want to do that? So he was very instrumental in telling us, like, okay, this is what they're focused on, or no, this is a good time. And then we had to find a representative to sponsor the bill. So we went through the House of the representatives in the House, because we found that it was going to be a little clearer path. So it went to a committee, and the committee, sees what they write it up, they see what we have, and that's when a lot of the negotiations start on it. And so they're going back and forth. What does this mean? What does that mean? I don't like that in there. Let's take that out. Because I think we had something like getting approval like in 7 days, and they didn't like that. So we had to change it up. But an interesting thing that really started coming up, we had a discussion on do we have to open up our Practice Act? And that was a little scary, because, and I'll bring this up with anytime stuff comes up about getting stuff approved, if you get a bill, bring up a bill, it may affect your Practice Act. And so they have to say, all right, we're going to pull this Practice Act and we'll open it up. But the thing is, you may have to add something, but if something gets added, somebody could come in and say, take that out. I don't like that. So it's a scary kind of thing, and you really got to have a pulse and understanding on, do you happen to have somebody that's got a lot of pull that's going to come in and be like, I don't like this direct access thing. I don't like this dry needling thing that they do. I don't like this manipulation that they do. And they could easily just scratch it out on it.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in other states.
Yeah, so they get really hesitant, and that's what sometimes blocks a lot of things, is like, yeah, we just got a few people that would pull the direct access or dry needling, or they would change something. So we're not going to do anything because this people or this group, they're going to do something, and we don't want to do it. So that kind of held up. So luckily we didn't have any resistance or anything to do it. So it got through really, really quickly. And so so we got it all written up with our concessions, because you got to put a couple concessions in. So, if you want this, you don't ask for that. You ask for this. This seems reasonable. Okay, so we'll take less and less until on there. So that's why you got to be able to give a little bit. So we got it all written up, got it out of committee, and then the fun time comes in when it actually gets heard. And that's kind of crazy. So we got the House of Delegates coming up, and everybody has their motions that they've written up. Well, then they start reordering. So same things happen with bills. Is these bills come up and they'll like, well, I move to have this bill moved up, and I move to have this bill dropped. So they start shuffling, and it can easily they just stick that bill on the bottom, and the session ends, and they're like, that's it, gone, and they toss them all in. It goes away. So you're trying to negotiate, you're trying to get it up there. You don't want it behind stuff that's going to have like a lot of discussion that takes up a lot of time. So we were luckily in a good position, and it got through. It got passed, and then it went over to the Senate side, and they said usually if it passes one, they're going to pass it right through the other one, really no problem. So they really didn't have an issue. But we had one little thing. So our lieutenant governor at the time was a big finance person. He was very big on like, is this going to cost the state money? How can this make the state money? He was very, particular. So we, bringing up like, this can bring jobs in, because, you're going to, because Mississippi does have military bases. So you're kind of saying, oh, your military personnel, spouses come in, they can work. You're going to be able to bring more people in. And I swear, I think I did something with this, is I called a friend who kind of was like, knew some people like that talked to other people on it. I was like, could you just mention that this bill's coming up? It's very good. It's to help people. And I don't know if it worked or not, but then it passed through the lieutenant governor, and then it goes to the governor, and you get to have a big ceremony where he signs the bill in it. So he signs it at a different time, but you get to go in the office, and he's got the pen, and he signs it, and you take pictures with it, and then it's like somebody took the pen. I didn't get the pen. Somebody took it.
That's pretty cool. I mean, wow. So what advice would you give to any physical therapist who want to change something in their state?
Oh, it's relationships.
It sounds like it.
And I forgot this part. So the thing that kind of came up is that once you pass that bill, that representative or whatnot that did it, they come to you and they're like, I got a fundraiser coming up. So you kind of got to make a donation to their fund on it. So you had to do a little bit of that. But I would say, if you want to do that, you do have to build a relationship with your representatives, because a thing like people have knocked on that about, getting anything done, and, we don't, but you got to think the people that are that are representing us in the government, they're not only making decisions on healthcare, but education, agricultural, business, the health, the environmental. So they're trying to make decisions across the board, and healthcare is often not their specialty. And so they may be, so they don't know anything about healthcare. Now they do have people in their office that are kind of like, oh, this is the healthcare person, this is the education person, so that they will listen to whoever comes in, and they will sit and they will talk with you. But it's just talking with them. Like I've been lucky enough here is I've contacted my rep, and I got her to speak at one of our district meetings. I got to go to a round table for healthcare, and found out that she is very big about small business and healthcare. So she wants to hear from, again, if you're a small private practice owner, she wants to hear, what struggles are you going through? What issues are you having? So she wants to use that to say, like, this is what we need to do. But it's building those little things with them. It's not coming to them and going, you need to do this, because they literally get a stack of papers from people all over their state or wherever they are. telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they're like, I'm trying to make the best decision. But if you are coming to them and you're just talking and you're building a relationship and they know who you are, then it turns into like, oh, okay, I want to reach back out to bring, I'm going to bring my people in to talk about healthcare. You're the people on the front line. Let's come in and talk to us about what you're struggling with or what you're dealing with. And that's the thing. And then you also got to keep in mind too, like election cycle. So we got the election cycle coming up. We just got voted out. And you got to go through that process again, because they're not going to hand it all off to the next person. The next person has their agendas that they want to do, and you got to start the whole thing again. So it takes quite a while. It's a lot of relationship, and it's really good if you work with them, the local people. So like your local representatives. I'm not saying like your mayor, but like, you have your district person, and they often come back. Like August is coming up. They're going to be back for August recess, and you can invite them to your clinic to say, hey, come into your clinic. They want the pictures. They want to come in and say, look, I'm actually out with my constituents and I'm talking with them. And you can set up to meet them in their office too. So it's just those little things, and asking, hey, what can I do for you too to help you with your campaign? Is that making a donation, which the APTA, I believe, will help you if you want to do a like a fundraiser, like when they're fundraiser dinners or something like that. I believe the PAC, if you reach out to them, they can assist you with doing that, by like going and your representative, I'll be Texas or the APTA when you go. So it's those little things. It's just getting that relationship up, and just so that they're a key contact. You're a key contact with somebody to talk about.
Oh, that sounds involved.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, and thanks to you and a team of others, Mississippi's now part of the PT Compact. Wow, I'm waiting for that in New York. When I heard it was like introduced, I'm thinking like, maybe before I retire, New York will be part of the compact.
Yeah, it's like silly. I think California was fighting it for a long time. It's just like just a silly little thing of why. Like we had an issue here in Texas that the head of the state legislature was an MD, would not pass anything for any other profession. He just did not on it. They're
the end all be all. Meanwhile, they have like the highest danger rate for iatrogenic issues, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like
they act like every other medical profession is more dangerous than them, and they're the most dangerous.
Yeah, it's like, okay, like our default is safety. It's just sending back to you. So you're dealing with people. That's all it is.
For sure. All right. Hey, thanks for telling your story.
Well, thank you.
Where can people find you on like LinkedIn or YouTube or what? Instagram?
So I'm mainly on Instagram. So I got a goofy long Instagram thing on there. It's Matt _PT _MDT excuse me. It is Matt _PT _dip _MDT. I did that because I have the friend who got me into MDT and all that. I kind of set it up for him. He passed away several years ago. But outside of that, you can find Matt the PT on Instagram, on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. Just search my name, Matt Huey. You'll find me on there.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Matt.
Thank you.
Hey, if you guys like Matt's story, you want to reach out to either one of us, make sure to check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Rate Untold Physio stories 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. That's Apple and Spotify especially, because that helps our discoverability. As always, you guys have a great day.